All right, so civilians. We got Merlin here.
How you
How you
going,
Yes.
Josh?
going? Good,
Yeah,
good.
yeah, very good, thank you.
I think Merlin's the only Earth 2 player that's actually met Shane in person.
Yeah, yeah. Very privileged to be able to meet Shane.
Yeah,
Um,
super cool.
yeah, like super, super humble guy. Like really nice. Yeah, great to talk to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Have
Uh,
you gone over the civilian videos again?
I have. Yeah, yeah. Went over it again and picked up a few details I missed the first time.
so it looks like we're just going at the moment we may just have three or possibly four factions at the moment, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
just three. Yeah,
Yeah, so you got the Rebel Force, Space Force, and the
uh, faction of ancient Egyptian gods.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And then also in the deep dive video, there was a little snippet of Valhallians.
Right. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
So
so those bacon beer loving guys will be happy about that for sure.
well,
yeah,
it definitely has to definitely have to try and push to get the Maltans also, the
Oh,
knights in there.
Oh yeah, I
yeah,
did hear a little rumor. I did hear a little rumor about some modern looking knights coming.
Yeah.
yeah.
Good.
Is that a
So
rumor?
it's a rumor, I think. I
Oh,
don't think
okay,
it's a
all
rumor. I don't think it's a
right.
rumor.
uh,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely a lot more in the works, I think.
yeah, that'd be like going up to Shane and be like, "Hey, Shane, so yeah, can you give me this?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, no worries. You can have your own faction. It's all good."
Yeah, yeah. I think they got
Uh,
a lot more in the works, to be honest. Yeah,
yeah, no, it sounds like it. Especially the couple other groups that we've got, like the pirates, for example, they'll be wanting their own faction for sure. But this is something that we kind of discussed in chat before: is are we going to be able to pick our own factions, or is it just we just get whatever we synthesize?
I'm inclined to think that it's probably we're going to be stuck with whatever we get because
Mm,
you know, at least according to the video,
mm,
that they talking to, that you're capturing this essence or the essence of the being,
mm.
okay? And so uh uh, unless there's, some way to tune the mentor to be able to detect just Space Force or detect Egyptian, I
Mm,
would assume that it would be somewhat random.
mm. Yeah.
yeah. I got something a bit different from that. Just because something Shane said, he said that the factions won't get along in the future. Like
Mm,
the different factions, yeah, like in the future they may not get along. So I'm assuming all of your own civilians would need to be the same civilization.
yeah, that's what I was thinking initially, but I mean, it's not clear. When you look at the interface for civilians in that video, it doesn't mention anything specifically. It's similar to Sidroid, so you just press the button, synthesize a civilian, and then you get what you're given, basically, like a pack of Pokemon cards.
Right, right. Well, I mean, and it's the same thing with the rarity,
Mm.
and how's the rarity going to play? What's I mean, is one going to be dumber than the other?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
so
that's right.
because I mean, it mentions it on the card, the description card for
Mm.
so it will be
Yeah,
interesting to see.
yeah, it is interesting because when you think about Sidroids and the rarity, we've got all of those different images that show that, and there's the levels of rarity and the abilities that they'll have. Whereas with the civilians, you obviously go your data analyst, your um dispenser, then you have your droid technician, droid pilot, and then it doesn't really mention anything in respect to how rarities kind of go with that. So, he didn't mention anything about trading civilians either, just that we could steal other people's people.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yes.
when you're thinking about, sorry, you go.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, yeah. That's a interesting topic to bear for later. Stealing other people's civilians, because it's did actually say if they weren't treated well,
Mm,
their intelligence poses a risk. So that's, yeah, interesting. Bit of information we got, which, yeah, doesn't give us too much, but
mm. So sustaining them will be a thing, and that sustenance system will be directly linked to them successfully achieving their core objectives. Think about it. That was an interesting tweet.
Right. And
yeah,
I know that there's
yeah. Or read it into your essence, because that's the two things you get from um
that,
your droids at the moment. But you still
Mm.
civilians you'll be able to help produce. So
right. I'm
Yeah, it's all interesting. And I think the thing that I realized today after going back and having a look at that deep dive video and also some of the comments that Shane's made is that at the time that it came pretty fast. So we had the deep dive on the side roads and the side road management. And then we had the deep dive on the civilians and player to player contracts, even though they didn't really go into that much. And the thing that I found was that I think we were so focused on rating and what that would look like that we probably didn't like. I couldn't even remember the interface for the civilians.
right.
I was too busy thinking about side roads and rating.
Right. Oh,
you guys doing
Yeah.
the same thing, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just taken now to go back and go through that again. So probably like they could have maybe saved that civilian deep dive video for like about now.
right.
A little bit closer to the launch. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Not like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
No offense, Shane.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, and hopefully it's coming out soon, because I mean, Shane did tweet out, that it wasn't going to be months that we were waiting for.
Mm,
And I think you mentioned that a lot of us were expecting it to come out on Earth 2 Day, or then for the civilians to come out on Earth 2 Day. But
mm,
of course that didn't happen. And they may not have all the bugs worked out of it yet either. But
mm.
it's, he says not months. And so if it's not months, then I mean, it should be sometime this month.
Yeah, in May,
Yeah, that's right.
perhaps.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Of course,
Mm.
of course, things happen to have a tendency of stretching out.
Yeah, that's right.
So
What's he call it? Feature creep or something.
what's that? I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know.
Not
It's his
sure.
terminology. He says feature creep. It's like a, when you're trying to develop a feature and the problems kind of just creep up on you and you
Oh,
you don't
yeah,
expect them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Earth 2 has a lot of that, but we'll
Yeah.
forgive
Well,
them.
they're a
well, it
bit of
is a
uncharted territory.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
big project, and they've
Mm,
got a lot of moving parts. And so
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's um it you can have unexpected consequences when you're trying
Mm,
to put this all together. And so uh
yeah.
uh
So one takeaway from the civilian videos that I would add that people really need to be mindful of, and I think Shane kind of touched on this anyway, is that we need to be careful about where we decide to synthesize civilians because
yes,
eventually we're going to have the housing for it, for example. So if you're not going to build a residential building on that plot, you may as well not even synthesize any civilians because what's going to happen, right? Someone's going to come along and go, hey, I've got a big apartment building that needs filling up down the road. You want to come, here's a
right,
place to stay. I've got some food. Let's have a party. There goes
sure.
your civilian.
And that's where we come in on the strategies.
Mm,
Where are we going to put, where do you want to put your civilians,
hmm
and where will they best be utilized?
mm,
So you touched on one aspect of it is, you know are you going to put a civilian out in the middle of nowhere, like you
mm,
said? uh
Mm.
I mean, even if you decide to build a building there, okay, and stuff, but what will they do? Okay. um
mm,
so what are your thoughts? I mean, on the strategy of placing them? Okay, what would you be looking for, Merlin, when you
To be honest, civilians, I really want to get them on my successful raiding properties for
okay,
now, just so I can continually raid. And then obviously in the future, worry about housing on those properties when obviously when that gets released. The droid pilot as well to build 4 or 5. Because the droid pilot, the last one,
right,
is for the future. We don't need it at the moment, and we just have um, the opportunity to build it now early. So yeah, I think it's just the first 4 on all my high rating properties. I think I'll go for.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because I'm speculating the droid pilot is going to be an E2V1 thing where we'll be able to fly the pilot around for some possibly even E2V1 egg hunt, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are they going to do that again?
Yeah, he said the next one would be an E2V1
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
in the
nice.
3D world, you know.
What are your thoughts on strategy, Jonathan?
My thoughts are that I'm definitely going to put civilians in Malta because no one's stealing my civilians from there. And that's primarily where I'm going to build anyway. So it's not really, it's a no-brainer for me. Is there a huge rating potential there? There is one really large area that I'm sure a lot of people have caught onto that has a lot of potential, and where closer to the capital, yeah, there is some there, but I will basically build all of my civilians there, and if I don't think that I'm going to build in other places where I've got rating plots already, I won't, and then I'll just manually do those myself because it's just saving, like, it's not that much time. If all the multiplots are basically rating, then it's maybe like a page or two elsewhere.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Builder? What are you going to do?
I'm thinking somewhat along the lines that Merlin was saying. You know, of course, I'm going to do my multiplots
Mm,
because that's where the majority of my development is going to be at.
mm,
But I do have some fairly nice, rating spots located in other places like
mm,
Spain and stuff. And so I'm not going to go crazy. I mean, when side droids hit, I started building side droids on all my properties, even
mm-hmm,
if they didn't have anything near to raid. You know,
mm,
I've got some plots that are out in the middle of nowhere, but they
mm,
have side droids
mm,
because um we're looking. I kind of gathered that there is going to be other attributes to the side droids as well as civilians that will
yeah.
help you with some of those like remote plots. I don't know if we're going to actually be able to glean jewels or essence on an unoccupied plot, but it's possible.
Mm,
And so
yeah.
I won't put any civilians out there right now, but I have side droids out there. And if other developments come along, well, then I can take and put civilians.
Mm. You got to remember too, the potential for rating opportunities exists also on Mentalis properties when we have that ability with whichever rarity it becomes.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
It's going to open up a few properties.
oh yeah, I got my eyes on a few.
Yep, so do I.
So
Nice.
yeah, I've got a couple of places that I went and put side droids at that I thought would be great rating places, and I neglected to check, and
Oh,
none of the properties around it had mentors. I mean,
no.
750, several 750 plots,
Yeah.
that just sitting there. The people haven't been doing anything since 2021, and
Hmm.
I can't touch them.
uh, you'd be laughing soon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember too, for those people to actually have mentors, it takes them 2 weeks continually logging in before they can collect it. So if they don't build a mentor, even if they log in or not, they've got to log in for 2 weeks straight.
Right.
So it's a no-brainer for me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was for me too, as soon as they came about.
Yeah.
So.
So in the devlog number 8,
Okay.
it's mentioned about sycophants, proteges, or votaries, depending on their factions. So I think it's interesting that they didn't mention any of these names in the civilian deep dive video. And my assumption there is, as Merlin said, there's going to be many different factions coming out. And instead of just 3, I think initially they probably just were thinking 3. And then they thought, we want some community driven creativity happening. What do you guys think?
I don't know.
Hmm.
It's possible that
Hmm.
they will introduce or allow players to be able to introduce something different.
Hmm.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
look,
not sure too. Sorry.
we were all screaming all over Twitter, going, make my faction, make my
Oh,
faction." So,
yeah, yes. Believe me, I
Yeah.
remember.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I you didn't you make up some do some screenshots of a possible knight faction at
Oh
one
yeah,
time?
yeah. I did. I pushed for that on Twitter as well. So that's probably where that came from. This possible. There's a rumor of a Knights faction thing.
Right.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't think
Yeah.
it's that. I don't think it's near future or the the new factions coming out. I don't think it's
Oh yeah,
gonna
it's not a
happen for quite a
priority.
while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun.
Once
We
they
can
get
wait.
the command, once they get the program done, and we're not adding to it, will be easy. It's getting the initial setup going and working properly. So it's very possible that they'll introduce more. They may just come out with the first 3 and whatnot and make sure it's
Yeah.
working, and then maybe come out with more in
Well,
V1.
they've got to fix a couple of things that they've already introduced that have broken in the last couple of weeks. So, hollow buildings, for example, haven't
Yeah.
been working for a couple of weeks now. I'm
Yes.
not trying to,
Nope.
FUD or anything like that. Just is what it is. And the heat map hasn't updated either. Just waiting for that big KOM logo to light up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I can show it off and be like, yeah, look at this.
Yeah, that's gonna look incredible, that's for sure.
it
Oh,
will.
it's massive. It is
Yeah.
huge. I
Yes,
can't get
it
over
is.
that. Yeah. So yeah, I got a quick question too. We were talking about this in TKO. How many side roads do you guys have depowered, do you think?
Oh, I more than half of mine.
Yeah.
I only what I started doing when I hit a place where there's, well, like I said, I got some side droids that are out in the middle of nowhere, and I don't have them powered up because they're
Mm,
not rating anything, and there's no sense in taking up the time to recharge them every time
yeah,
to when I'm not going to be using them. And then
that's right.
also areas that I did have, um, they've stopped producing. I
Mm,
mean, the properties that were I was rating got bought by somebody else, and now
mm.
they're not producing anything.
Yeah.
And so I depowered those. What about you, Glenn?
Yeah. I had that happen today actually. I was like, I had a notification saying, "Oh, your raid was unsuccessful for so and so's property," and I'm like, "What the heck? I know that person's active. I'm not going to raid them." And then I realized that they actually bought the property mid raid.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay, well, bummer.
Can't say that's happened to me yet.
Oh,
Yeah. So what about you, Merlin? Do you have a bunch of sideboards not powered up?
Probably about, I don't know, 40 or 50 not powered up.
Okay.
Not too many. I've got my own little micro city, Boston Paradise. I got a bunch in there not powered, but pretty much all the rest are just are rating consistently for me.
Okay. Good. Good.
yeah, I got the I've got 2 accounts that I'm rating from now. So the Malta, the KOM one, consistently doing quite often, and my main account is sort of falling a little bit behind. So I've got to do some, and I think this is good for anyone to if you've got a bunch of 4 tile plots. Now I don't think I knew that this was going to happen, buying a bunch of 4 tile plots and then going, hang on a minute, this is too much work, right?
Right.
But it's like
Yeah.
a tester, so you kind of see whether it gets hits or not, and then you go, okay, you could buy 10 tile, you could have 2, or what I want to do is do 100 tile plots and have 5 for big plots that are getting decent returns.
Right.
Yeah. It's
But it's
a little bit
costly.
more expensive. Yeah, a little bit more expensive, but it's definitely a better way of going about it. Like, you save a lot of time.
Yeah. In the price, for example, you would be paying about $20 to $30 for 100 tile in most places, just tier 2. And then you look at the marketplace after RE, and you're paying that much for a tier 1. So
Right.
Yeah.
not really too sure what I want to do there. Food for thought, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've started depowering most of my 4 tiles down. My single droid, because you're right. It takes a lot of time to go through that whole list and stuff. So
Yeah.
and if they're not, if I can't get a full load consistently off of that plot, within, because I'll continue, like if a side droid comes back and it's only got 0.5, I'll take and send it right back out,
Yeah.
until it's full. But if I have to spend three raids, 4 raids to do that, well, then it's kind of not worth it, because it just takes up too much time. So
Well, it's a charge click, a raid click, and then potentially another charge and another raid and or dispense. So it's 2 or 3 clicks either way.
right.
All right. The other thing that I wanted to talk about too, while we got Merlin on here, is what developments have you been making, and ideas and thoughts do you have around some of your artwork? So because you did some for Shane, and obviously that was shared on Twitter and the socials. What else have you been working on, man?
Yeah, well, I'm actually a professional mural artist. I work with all spray cans and stuff. So I'm actually trying to start up my own little NFT thing, with NFTs for each individual megacity. So I like to contact the megacity owners and get specific designed NFT with different variations for each megacity, and then obviously I'd like to do an Earth 2 series.
Yeah, of course.
As well. An Earth 2 series, that'd be like the main one, and series 1, 2, 3, keep it going.
Yeah.
Just we're house renovations. We're actually moving in a state at the moment, so it's been put on the back burner for a couple of months, unfortunately.
That's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you
yeah.
Are you also planning on possibly setting up a gallery within Earth 2?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I've bought lots of plots around specifically just for galleries.
Nice.
Yeah, so
so you've got something, so that you're looking to be able to put something in each megacity, possibly. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's something in all the mega cities. It's going to be fantastic. Obviously, when E2V1 comes out, like with the 3D gameplay, building galleries where physics and gravity doesn't apply,
Right.
Mm.
things like that. You know, the art galleries are going to be.
Cool.
I've got a lot of a few ideas and stuff I've been working on, but
Yeah, cool.
yeah, but that's obviously in the future. But yeah,
Nice.
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I'm excited to see where you go with it. To be honest, because I do really appreciate a lot of this stuff that using aerosols and spray can is quite difficult doing it myself. So I can appreciate like what you're doing because I mean I've done it, but I'm nowhere near as good as what you are.
Yeah,
I appreciate it,
you
right?
you do some amazing work. You do.
Oh,
Yeah. So
yeah, thanks,
Um,
guys.
so yeah, the one thing that I really do worry about at the moment, and especially with the Genesis project that we've got going, is the stigma that is behind NFTs and the absolute bull crap that you have to put up with when trying to talk to people about NFTs. Because they've just got such a bad reputation for scamming and things like that after the last bull run.
I think that will
Yeah,
change. That'll change down in the future.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
We did have a lot of BS put out
Hmm.
there. A
Oh
lot
yeah.
of people scamming people with NFTs and stuff like this. But
Mm,
it's just like, with Bitcoin. Okay,
mm,
when Bitcoin first came out, everybody just thought it was, BS. It was a scam. It's not going to go
mm,
nowhere.
yeah,
And the thing with the NFTs is it's going to start gain traction and be more normalized in the future
mm.
because the potential, because NFTs, anything can be an NFT,
Yeah, of
and
course.
in addition, it's like one person I was listening to and talking with a while back, whatnot, is real world things can be you can take and make an NFT of a real world thing. Like,
Mm,
let's say you collect watches,
mm,
okay,
yeah,
and you create the contract for that watch. Well, what it does now is gives you a more um, a better way of tracking the lineage of that watch. And what I mean is who owned it and stuff like that.
mm. Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's a good idea
yeah,
actually.
yeah. Actually, one thing I forgot to bring up too, bridging that the physical world, digital world thing.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I'm actually going to individually spray up every single NFT
Right.
and post along the original with the digital copy.
Right.
yeah, awesome.
So every NFT only will be an original artwork as well. So trying
Right.
to bridge
Yeah.
that gap. Yeah.
And what it does, and it actually gives it more value, because when you can track the lineage of something, then it actually adds to the value. um Going back to the watch thing real quick,
Yeah.
also a lot of and this was an example that was displayed to me, is verification is a big thing in art and collectibles. Well, when you create that contract or that NFT, that gives you a solid tracking of of that item.
Mm,
And
Yep.
so verifying it and authenticating it is much easier. And you don't have to take and send it somewhere else in the world to do the verification, which right now, to do a verification of a piece of work or a collectible, sometimes you have to send it somewhere else because you have to have somebody physically inspect it and stuff like that. Well, once
mm,
you've created that contract, that's no longer necessary. So
Yes, correct. Yeah.
mm. That makes me think about, the massive challenge that Earth 2 has on their hands as well, trying to get everything on chain. Um, and the things that they've spoken about that they want to be on chain, for example, you could take your jewel and you could chuck it on OpenSea Marketplace, or your land, for example, your hollow buildings. It's all been talked about before. A massive undertaking on that scale. There's just so many things that, yeah, it would be insane.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they don't start their own chain, their own blockchain, off
Mm,
of Ethereum or one of the others, or even, and I think that's part of the Essence launch also.
mm, could
Okay.
be.
Yeah, because when you think of being able to put all the land tiles on the blockchain, that's a lot. Well,
Hmm.
not really though.
Yeah.
Not, but not necessarily, because the creation of tokens is you can create a token on chain, and have a billion tokens. Okay.
True.
And so if they launch their own chain uh, with the Essence launch, then it wouldn't be that hard to take and put everything on chain, because then they have the coding for that already.
Mm, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm. Just think about the transaction time as well, though, because typically most chains don't happen instantly like things are happening on Earth 2 right now. You really don't want to take that away just for the sake of blockchain, to me.
Well, things are developing within the blockchain community and whatnot, and
Oh, yeah.
transactions are going much quicker, and even gas fees are starting to come down. With the
Mm.
Even Ethereum has dropped considerably since the launch of Ethereum 2. I mean, to take and do a transaction, you know, with Ethereum used to cost you, you do a $5 transaction, it costs you $50 in gas fees, you know.
You'd be surprised. I think it still
But
is like $15, $20 though.
no, that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
come down. I mean,
Yeah.
so um it's in other uh contracts, Polygon, Solana, and stuff like this. They've
Yeah, of
also
course.
made you do a transaction in Polygon, it's only a fraction of the cost now, and same way with Solana. But Ethereum has come down considerably as well. So,
Mm.
and they're getting a lot faster. So
Yeah, look, I'm just overly eager for the Essence launch, and not for any sake of cashing out, because I mean we've spoken about that before. But when you think about all of the people that are holding on to it, waiting for the Essence launch, and we want to offboard those people, because if they're just looking to cash out, sell the land, and walk away, we
right,
want people to come in, buy the land, and they're probably going to buy the land at a cheaper price too, because if they make their return on investment with Essence as well,
right,
then you'll have all of these mechanics introduced where the Essence value will determine how many people start getting interested.
right.
If it's less
Yeah.
than a cent, then people won't care.
I
I
think
don't think it's going to go that low.
right.
Mm.
Yeah.
There are quite a few people, like you said, that are just holding for the launch and then possibly cashing out, but there are also a lot of us that are in for the long haul, because there's a lot more involved in Earth 2 than just the Essence. When we start player to player contract, when we start doing advertising, when we're able to set up, like Merlin wants to set up his galleries. And so you'll see a lot more of that in the future once V1 comes out. But yeah,
Sure. Yeah, I think Shane and the team, I know that they know because it's in the draft white paper. They can control the tokenomics. So the amount that we gather on a day-to-day basis, they control that.
right,
To some degree, there is some sort of algorithm that goes, okay, you guys have spent like 2 million essence. We're going to give a little bit out, because that's like a revolving pool, right? So you spend it and then it's distributed back out.
Right.
So, from the perspective that if there's more people dumping than there is buying, that generation is just going to tighten up real quick, and then the value, they'll go, okay, you can't actually get as much as what we could, and then obviously the value is going to go up. I think
Right.
that's what they're thinking.
Right. Well, we're about out of time for this day. Final words,
Yes.
Merlin?
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you for joining us. We look
Thanks for
forward to having
coming
you.
on, man.
You bet.
No, I appreciate it.
All right.